All right. Hey, welcome back. Last time I talked about why you might want to have unit tests for your Godot C# project and what kind of code is best to unit test. But this time I want to cover pretty much how to set up a testing library. In this case, we'll set up Xunit for our Godot project. If you're curious and haven't seen the last video, please go back and have a look because I think that it can be useful to have context on why we're doing some of these things. One quick thing before we get started. So I've decided to make this video to explain the setup for Xunit, which is a general C# unit testing library. If you want something more specific to Godot, you could also check out GDUnit by Mike Schultz. It's free. It runs within Godot rather than within VS Code. I find that workflow is a little bit annoying for me. I prefer to do most of my work within my code editor. Others might prefer to work right in the Godot ecosystem. And it can do some cool things that Xunit can't, that's more Godot specific. But I think a lot of the more general theory stuff still holds true for both. So if you want to be working with GDUnit, you can still get a lot from these videos, I think. I think it also will handle some more things outside of unit test a little better. So it could be kind of your integration test library. It handles stuff like mocking and things like that, apparently. I also found that it kind of nagged often for updates, which drove me nuts. So I uninstalled it and used Xunit. Cool. So basically today we're going to talk about setting up your IDE. We're going to use VS Code in this case. There's probably slightly different steps for other IDEs, but VS Code is pretty popular. We'll have to edit our project, which is where we actually add Xunit. It might change the structure of the project significantly, so be aware of that. And we're going to write our first test, and it's really going to be that easy. It shouldn't take too long. Cool. So just to start things off, I have created a pretty much empty Godot project here. We've got some utility code here, which we'll test, but otherwise it doesn't really matter. You can do this with anything. Note though, this is the .NET version of Godot, which supports C#. Cool. So this is example game 2000 in Godot. Let's have a look here. We've got this here. A CS proj will be generated when you make a Godot project with C# and it has information like its target .NET framework and what SDK it's using. Don't worry about this too much, but we are going to have to look at this a little bit later. First, let's have a look at our extensions. The ones you're going to want here. I think if you download C# Dev Kit, you'll probably get both of these, but make sure you get these. Look up C# Dev Kit. You can download it. Also, C# tools for Godot is useful, but not useful for this specifically, probably. C# Dev Kit, get that one. You'll have C# installed on your computer already if you are running Godot with C#, so that's going to be fine. And yeah, we can start going. Now, you'll notice here that I think once you get C# Dev Kit and some other extensions, we'll do this, you'll get a little testing option here. Oops, sorry. And the test, this test window is how you're going to run your tests. I don't have any in this right now, so that's fine. But we will add some soon. Okay, cool. So let's go back here. That's basically all the setup you should need for this. This is our project, as I said. We have everything kind of in this folder. There's scripts. We probably have a bunch of other things too. If you're using Godot for a current project, probably like, I don't know, folders full of meshes and sprites and other fun stuff. We are going to split our repo into two projects. One, the main project, and two, our test project. So to do that, I highly recommend quitting Godot and quitting your VS Code. and opening your file in the File Explorer or whatever you've got on Mac. So here we go. This is what it looks like. There's going to be problems if you open this up while Godot or VS Code is running, because some of these files are always in use, notably this .godot folder. Anyways, once you have those cleaned up and not running, make sure you're not running Godot or VS Code right now. Make a new folder. I'm calling mine main, but you can call it the name of your game or whatever, or just game. And grab everything except for license readme, and these Git files are all for Git, and they, in this case, we want them to stay in the same folder. We'll take all of these. We'll take this .godot folder. We'll take anything else, all these, the scripts folder, and put them in main here. Okay, cool. So now when you open up Godot, it's going to require you to find the location of your project. I've already changed mine here, but you might have to re-import the project. But it should have all your settings if you saved that .godot folder. Cool. Okay. So nothing looks different here because we're just looking at Godot from a deeper folder, but that's fine. And then if we open up VS Code again, we have this different setup too. We've got this main folder. Okay, cool. That's the first step. The next step is we want to make a test project here. So what we're going to do is right click on, or see on this side here where you get the Explorer, you should have at the bottom something called Solution Explorer. And this might take a little clicking to find. So Solution Explorer is not quite a file tree, but a tree of the solutions or C# projects inside of your file tree. What we're going to do is click on where you have Example Game 2000 or whatever the top level folder of your project is called. Click on New Project, and it will open this thing up. And if you've got C# installed, you should have access to these templates. Now, please look up, I think, Xunit test project. Click on that. We're going to call this Example Game 2000 unit tests. And it wants to put it in this directory here, which we do not want. We want to choose another directory, and we want to put it next to main. So we can call it unit tests. Oh, it wants a new folder. So, or no, just select folder. There we go. Awesome. And we can look at our Explorer now. We have a Example Game 2000's unit test folder. Cool. And in Solution Explorer, we have these two living next to each other beautifully. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at the CS proj that was generated by that. And we're going to look at it next to the CS proj from the other game. So first thing is we need these two to match. So what we're going to do is copy this over and paste it. It's okay if you change it, save it. It has to be the Godot.net one. Target framework has to match too, but that's looking great. And you have implicit using, nullable, all this stuff is fine for tests. That's good. The next thing we want to do is to make sure that the test assembly references the main assembly. And we do that by finding our test assembly, right-clicking on it, clicking on Add Project Reference, and then it will autocomplete at the top here for Example Game 2000. That adds a project reference, and now we can reference the classes from our first game, or our main game, in the test assembly. Tremendous. This is great. I'm very happy now. Okay, so let's see. Xunit has given us one little test here. There's going to be a problem when we run it, and I'll show you, but let's just make sure it has something to test here. We do assert true, true. This is just saying, if this isn't true, fail it. It's true. That's fine. Cool. And then if we refresh up here after clicking test, we see nothing. And why is that? If we look at the terminal here, it will give us a bunch of angry messages, which nobody fully understands. What I found you have to do is add in these two lines here. In property group up here, you'll want generate assembly info false and generate target framework attribute false. Something's happening with the build here, and it fails if you don't have that. But now when we refresh this, aha! So now you see up here, we have this little tree here that goes from into the file and into the exact test, and we can run it, and it passes. So that's really all you need to do now to make a new test. Is we just need to, inside here, make a new file, add things with the syntax that we're going to explore after this, and yeah, and then they can always be run from this little window here if you have the parent folder that has both of these open. If you only open the folder here for the main game, it will not show you the test by default. Another thing to keep in mind is this should refer to our game, but the game doesn't need to refer or ever know about the unit tests. Unit tests look at the game and test it. They don't do anything else than that. And just quickly to make sure that that's working, I'm just going to refer to one of our game classes to see how that is. Game math sounds fun. Yeah, so example game.gamemath.add. Okay, that seems like it's working fine. Let's just make sure that does something. 3. And then we run that, or we search for new ones. Oh, that's in test 1 still. That's fine. And we run that again. That's good. What if we say 5? We run this. Aha, it fails. And it will tell us where it fails if you click on that. So that's working great. Okay, so that's Xunit is now set up for us now, and we can start writing some tests. That's what we'll do in the next video, though. So I'll see you there.